No one's gone that way before. I loved how we're mixing it up a little bit. Welcome to Frank and Kirsi. How are you two feeling today? Happy?
Of course. We Finns are always happy.
And you?
Well, we don't, flaunt it, so I would say so, but yes, I am, secretly.
Good to know. So we've been hearing a little bit about some of the factors that put Finland top of the happiness rankings. I don't know if you managed to catch that discussion. Is there anything you think we missed, any other factors that stand out for you as to why Finland keeps coming top year after year?
Yeah, I think that they went through the main factors, like high-quality democratic institutions, like welfare benefits, like relatively extensive compared to many other countries, high trust between people, and quite much freedom that people have. But I always tend to say that that governments cannot make citizens happy, but governments can remove many sources of unhappiness. So the Nordic happiness is not about there will be more people who are on a scale from 0 to 10 at 10, but it's more about that given the high quality institutions, there's much less people who rate their lives at 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So there's Nordic happiness, the secret is that there's less misery here, not more extreme happiness here.
Kirsi,
and
what would you add to that?
organizations as well, can make us unhappy, very much so. But I think one of the things which Mikko a bit talked about is interesting, the thing that we don't quite believe our luck, We say that we are happy, but then when it comes out in a report, we say that, no, we are not happy. And when Harari says, that everything is about stories and the best story wins, I just wonder if we could trust ourselves a bit and, create the story of a happy nation and maybe create the happy nation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe 7 years top of the rankings, and only now
still,
we're being proud and having a discussion about it and thinking how we can delve into it a bit deeper.
Yeah.
It's not a one-off.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the factors that promote happiness and in particular job satisfaction in the workplace, because there are all sorts of reasons why people stay in a job and might leave a job because they're not feeling satisfied. Kirsi, do you just want to start with that, Kirsi?
Well, I think one of the, research says that one of the most important factor of being happy or having a meaning of life, feeling of being in the right place with the right people, doing things that matter, I think is belonging. And generally, the relationships that we have. It's not only in our personal lives, but also in our work life that the relationships matter a lot. And there's Adam Grant, who spoke here yesterday, has done a lot of research on that how, when we know that we are doing something for some other person, that makes us feel, that we have a meaningful and purposeful job. So I think that's something that we could focus on more organizationally, creating better or more intelligent relationships. And I think that's something that we have sort of thought that it's deal with it yourself and not organizationally. Lately, we have been building cultures, but I would say that we would still, need to focus a little bit more on that.
What do you think, Frank? I mean, even the phrase workplace culture is not something that was so commonly talked about, say, 15 years ago. So it's on people's radar, but what can companies do better?
Yeah, I want to say that these are both very important factors, this sense of belonging and contribution. So they're about connecting with other people. But I think actually one advantage of Finnish work life that it's it gives people more autonomy than many other places. That we tend to give people more responsibility and more freedom to make their own choices, which is very important also for our well-being, connecting with yourself, being able to live according to your own ideas, interests, and values. So I think that's something that at least I think is one of the advantages of Finnish work life, that we give more autonomy to the people on average and trust people more. So it's both ways, connecting with others, but then also connecting with yourself.
Sure. I agree with that. And yesterday, Adam Grant also talked about hippos. If you were listening, the highest paid person's opinion wins always. We tend to conform, to that person. I think that in Finland, that's not really true. I think we have more equality, as you say, that the best opinion wins, basically.
I've spoken with Finnish CEOs who are frustrated. They say that this is where we should go, and then people said, no, we are not going there. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And I think in many countries that wouldn't happen. If the CEO says that we're going here, everybody's going to say yes, let's go there, even though they would privately think it's a bad idea. But in Finland, they're more prone to say it loud that no.
Yeah, we are brutally honest, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. And that's a good thing, I think, in the end.
Yeah,
And that lack of hierarchy also shows up in other places, I think. You'll see CEOs stacking the dishwasher and things here and not necessarily leaving that to somebody who's seen to have a lower level job.
And that's, I must add that that's also, you know, a competitive advantage to our firms. When you speak with firms who are internationally, you know, international Finnish firms, they say that, you know, we cannot compete with money, but we can compete with equality. And if you are an ambitious young person, for instance, and you get into the Finnish, you know, working culture, and you are equal, and your opinions matter, that's a huge competitive advantage as well. And we don't, you know, market it maybe enough.
One thing that I think is starting to be marketed a bit better overseas is the work-life balance here. The longer holidays, the parental leave benefits that just still seem shocking to people in other countries where you might get, you know, 1 week off or three months unpaid parental leave, that sort of thing. How much do you think that is impacting satisfaction at work? The fact that you have more time off. Are Finns less stressed out than other nations?
Actually, like, I went through like this. There was this European like work-life survey that goes through like 35 different countries and work like in Europe, and it turned out like when I look at like burnout, how much burnout people are experiencing at the workplace, I think like Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Netherlands were the top 5 with the least symptoms of burnout among the workers. So which is interestingly basically the same country which are in this top 10 of these happiest countries. So it seems that the countries which have like the highest levels of happiness seem to be also the countries with the lowest levels of burnout. So Finnish work life seems to be doing something right as regards not stressing out the workers as much as some other cultures. And I think like one factor probably is this like longer holidays that you actually have time to take off.
Yeah, and if you look globally, you know, the ratio of burnout and exhaustion and early retirement and so on. So I think that's something that other nations could, you know, learn from Finland. And also, I must say, you know, when we are talking about the long summer vacations and long vacations, I think it's also, you know, how we spend the vacation, because mostly we are, you know, in our summer cottages in the middle of nature, and it's science-backed, you know, that nature makes us more happy and makes life more meaningful and so on. So I think that's also something. I mean, we are forest bathing and lake bathing or whatever we do 4 weeks in the nature. That's also a factor, I think.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's not necessarily an action-packed city holiday where you're having to make a schedule, which kind of feels like work sometimes. And you're also,
totally unplugged from the work life. I mean, you're not trying to multitask work and life at your summer vacation, in a summer vacation.
Do you think that?
And I also think that's actually like a benefit in any like creative industries. As a researcher, I feel like when I'm working, I always have like a project. Then I'm reading stuff related to that project. But then when I'm on the summer vacation, I have like time to read something else. And then when I read something like completely unrelated to work, actually then I get like the new ideas that then like build the foundation for my next research project. So I think that because I take like these 4 weeks, or actually I usually take 5 weeks off, then because of that I'm actually getting more things done in the long term, because I get like more creative ideas through having time to actually unplug from just grinding through the work.
And coming back with a new perspective. But there is some chatter in the media in the Nordics that some of that is a little bit under threat. I'd like to just do a little quick survey with the people in the room. Who has answered emails during their holiday in the last 2 years?
Well,
yeah, I mean, I'm seeing quite a lot of hands, and maybe that wouldn't have been so much the case, say, 10 years ago. How much do you think it is a threat that with the fact that we're always switched on digitally is starting to seep into our free time?
One factor that we often forget when we talk about, holidays and work and so on, that work is also, most people say that work is one of the most important factors when you talk about a meaningful life. So, I mean, if you just, answer the emails in order to, plug into the meaningful life or something like that, it's not so harmful. But if you have to multitask all the time, then of course it harms the balance. And even if you're a passionate person, for your work, too much is too much, and then you can easily destroy purposeful effect or the meaning of it.
Yeah, I would think like, like if you answer once in a while some email, like during a 4 weeks vacation, that's not the bad thing, but the more important thing would be like, when you get off from work during the like regular weeks, that you wouldn't like answer email throughout the evening, that you can actually unplug after the long work day to like have time when you don't think about work-related stuff. So that would be like more important for one's well-being and lacking this burnout and stress kind of symptoms.
What do you think about mandatory blocks on emails? I think France has stopped companies from sending them or after a certain time.
I think that could work. Like, I guess like it has to be like worked on a company basis or a team basis. But I think like something like that might be a good idea in many workplaces. It actually helps then people to actually then be more relaxed. They don't have to think about the emails because they're not coming through. So in the optimal case, we all will be like perfect in like managing ourselves, but we rarely are. We are like getting our phones out and checking the emails when we shouldn't be doing that. So in that sense, having these some kind of rules and boundaries might be a good idea.
I think that also goes for the better relationships. I mean, you create within your team the rules which then conduct your relationships, and you're just you're not all the same kind of people. So maybe there are teams who like to do the emails all the time, and that's okay.
Yeah. Just want to apologise. We have had some messages saying that the live stream sound isn't working for everyone. So I hope it's back if there was a bit of a delay on that earlier on. So moving forward, who do you think it's up to try and improve job satisfaction in workplaces where it's not up to the standard that we would like? Is it up to bosses? Is it from the political level, or is it individuals? Is it up to us to, if we don't like that workplace, to go and find another one with a better sense of purpose, for example? Let's start with you.
I think it's up to all of us, and certainly it's not good to fall for a weak victim for this, but it's systemic as well. I remember a few years back in the Nordic Business Forum, there were this keynote speaker who were energizing Finnish business people and so on. And then the first question that the Finnish audience had for him was that, okay, well, we could do that, but how can we do this because our politicians are so slow and so and so? And he started to laugh at the Finnish audience that, are you really waiting for the politicians to deal with this? So, I mean, maybe we should, see this as a mutual problem and mutual challenge and mutual possibility as well.
Yeah, so just because it's a trusting society, it doesn't mean you should trust in others to make that shift.
Yeah, I agree that it's not like an either-or question, but like both and questions. That, of course, like, the bosses, those who are like setting the structures of the company, they should be thinking about these issues. But of course, like it's also like the individual responsibility to make sure that I'm like making things better rather than worse, and I'm not like just waiting there passively for somebody else to solve my problems. But of course, like at the same time, if the work environment is toxic enough, then I as an individual might have too much chance to change it. So in one point, it might be better just to leave and go somewhere else. So I guess all of us have the responsibility for that.
Yeah, okay. So just finally, a couple of personal tips. If you are having a bad day or feeling a bit unhappy, what are your top small strategies to bring a bit more joy to your day or to cheer yourself up? Let's start with you, Frank.
I think subscribe to this so-called meliorism, which is this pragmatist philosopher's word for always focusing on getting things better. So whatever is the situation, accept whatever has happened because that's already happened. Accept the things that you cannot change because those you cannot change, and then focus only on the things that actually are in your control.
Okay, so acceptance. And very briefly, we've got 30 seconds. Top tip from you?
I think focus on other people. Appreciate your coworker out loud, please. And I think that creates better relationships, and that creates a happier workplace.
Yeah, take yourself out of yourself a little bit. All right, what a wonderful second discussion. 2 great discussions about happiness to kick off the day. Thanks very much to both of you.
Thank you.